I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. All right, guys. So, it's been a long time since I've seen a take like atheism is racist. But I figure it's time to go ahead and explore that take again.
Okay.
Because it's been a while since I've seen it. But this one is from a channel called Sci-Fi or Scythe Talk? Scythe Talk. Maybe I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. But yeah, no. Destroying a racist atheist is the argument here. Let's go ahead and see what we've got to cover. But first, from Axo That Has Cream, don't mind me dropping this here, and I think it's cute as fuck. I'm working on a little thing. So we have IRL Suris. Because, I mean, yeah, I do look like that, to be fair. The next one we have here is from Smacko. Did this to celebrate finishing Shoutout Episode 2. I had this idea rolling around in my head while I was doing it. I love the Sonicified versions of my character. I really do. And just like the pink slime chaos monster. 10 out of 10. Perfect. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's go ahead and get right into today's video after you hit the like button and subscribe. And hit the bell. All those other things. Crow, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an ada. You fucking degen. So, let's go and see here.
Atheism, according to the Oxford Dictionary, means the lack of belief in the existence of God or gods.
Okay.
And atheism by nature is a racist ideology. And
What? How? How? If you just don't believe in a god, how is that racist? What?
you just need to read what atheist scientists say about African and non-white people. In The Descent of Man, Charles Darwin said,
Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to say that an entire ideology is racist, then maybe you should use some text that was written by people in the last few years, not stuff that literally, I guarantee you, 99% of atheists haven't fucking read. Darwin is not the arbiter of fucking atheism.
at some future period, not very distant as measured by centuries, the civilized races of men will almost certainly exterminate and replace throughout the world the savage races. This is not just racism, it's racial extermination.
Yeah. Darwin was smart in a lot of ways and dumb in a lot of other ways. Turns out, people in the past were more racist than people nowadays.
And that's what Darwin's theory is all about.
No, Darwin's theory is not all about racism. What?
Darwin considers that every population that is not white and European to be savage. Leonard Darwin, the son of Charles Darwin, said, all of the problems which will have to be faced in the future, in my opinion, the most difficult will be those concerning the treatment of the inferior races of mankind.
Yay, old white people are racist. And?
Atheism is fueled by racism and the belief that the white nations are superior.
No, you're talking about white supremacy. Atheism is not white supremacy, and white supremacy is not atheism. There are atheists who are white supremacists, but there's also Christians who are white supremacists. There are Muslims who are white supremacists. It doesn't matter. The religion, or lack thereof in this case, is not actually a descriptive factor that lets us know anything about the ideological belief someone has when it comes to the races of people.
I found 10 different lists from different sources, each claiming to be the top 10 best countries in the world to live in for 2022. I compared all 10 lists, and I then made my own top 10 from them, from the ones that come up again and again. For example, Switzerland, Sweden, Canada, followed by Germany, Australia, and Denmark, Norway, Finland, Japan, New Zealand, the UK, and USA. Every one of the top 10 best societies in the world is considered secular, but not one Muslim country ever made it to anyone's top 10.
Okay, cool. Do you want to know why that is? Because a country that is theologically driven, largely, almost all the time, oppresses the rights of the people in that country. Now, individual people having theologies is okay. There's nothing wrong with you being Christian, Muslim, Jewish, pagan, etc. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we have a society that is built on a theological basis, we have to accept that we have to force everybody in that society to agree to a set of rules that they might not agree to, that are part of gods that they don't agree even exist.
So we could say, based on your list, that Black and Hispanic societies are inferior.
No.
No, the common denominator that he's using is religiosity. He's not using race there. Now, it may be a coincidence that there is a racial leaning to those particular societies, but that does not mean that those societies are good because they're white. The argument is that those societies are good because they are secular. But okay, sure thing.
The list. Your list didn't have any Hispanic countries. It didn't have any Black countries.
I think it actually did. But
Which one?
I'd have to go back over the whole thing.
Let's see, hold on. Which countries did he say? Which ones were they again?
Again, for example, Switzerland, Sweden, Canada, followed by Germany, Australia, and Denmark, Norway, Finland, Japan, New Zealand, the UK, and USA.
Okay, so he's technically right there, but again, so what this person here is doing is they're engaging in whataboutism. They're saying, oh, well, what about the racial component? We're not arguing the racial component. We are arguing the religiosity. We are arguing the government. The racial component of a state does not say jack shit about the laws that that state will enact on its people. The religiosity of the state, however, does, because by and large, when we are writing laws, we are trying to make rules about morality that everybody has to follow. And if your rules about morality are dictated on a religious text, then that's what we're going to find. That's what we're going to see as a common denominator for that society. We're going to see the religious text that is going to be used repeatedly as your reason for writing certain laws. The race is not the reason. Also, Paint Puppy, thank you for the follow. The race is not the reason behind that. The racial makeup is largely coincidental. What you're doing is blaming ice cream sales on murders. Turns out, homicides go up as ice cream sales go up. Turns out, there's a lot of weird different coincidences that overlap with one another, that have nothing to do with one another, but they do tend to overlap. So the racial makeup of these countries being what they are would be considered one of those coincidences, because it's not one of the factors that actually goes in to whether or not that country is writing certain laws. This goes both ways, because there are white supremacists who try to use the same happiness index argument to say that, oh, well, this means that the white countries are better than the countries that have more black people in them. That's an argument that a lot of white supremacists will use. But they're using the same fallacy that you are here. It's just whataboutism. It's an argument that's using the individual parts of the makeup of that country and not the actual common denominator that matters.
Your list didn't have any Hispanic countries. It didn't have any Black countries.
I think it actually did. But
Which one?
I'd have to go back over the whole thing.
Popular atheists like Aaron Ra use science and materialism as their way to disprove metaphysical realities. But the problem with this type of atheists is that their actions go against their definition of atheism, and they turn atheism into a religion.
How, though? Okay, as somebody who has done content with Aaron, Prince Cassian, really? Really? Prince Caspian, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an ooh. Axolotls, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. Both of you. Fuck off. Fuck off. Even the one who is on the correct side of history. Okay, so, let me say this. As somebody who has broken bread with Aaron, as somebody who has done content with Aaron Ra, as somebody who has spoken at convention with Aaron Ra, as somebody who has watched his content, read his book, and existed in the same space as this person, and who can also tell you that definitely one of the scariest moments in my entire life was being in a car as he was driving in the middle of Texas, let me assure you, the statement Aaron Ra is religious and the religion is atheism is utter fucking bullshit. But okay, sure, I understand. You want to have this, like, you want to have this thing where you say, like, oh, well, you follow a religion too. That means you're as bad as me. Fuck off.
And they believe nothing exists except matter and its movements and modifications. But they fail to provide any sort of evidences for their claims.
Okay, so evidences is not fucking plural. Holy shit, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Secondly, what evidence would you accept? What evidence would you accept that all things are material? Except that our experience is that the material world is all we get to experience. Like, what evidence would you accept for material being all there is?
When you try to provide logical evidences for the existence of God, they will dismiss it because they can't see God, which is ignorant and goes against the scientific method that they worship.
Okay, cool. So then can you tell me what we would use in the scientific method to prove a God? Like, that's what we would need. Like, if you want to say, oh, we worship it, sure, I'll take that. I'll take that for a second. I'll accept that atheists worship the scientific method. Sure. Let's accept that on its face, stupidly, for a quarter of a second. How would we go about proving or disproving a God using the scientific method? Give me an experiment that we can repeat that will show your God. If you want to talk in this category, we can. Now, I'm of the opinion that we can't because God, being a claim that is supernatural, naturally takes it outside of the jurisdiction of science. Science deals with the natural world. It uses what's called methodological naturalism. The idea that everything that exists is real, is matter, can be measured, but we are only suspending the belief in supernatural things for the purpose of experimentation. That's methodological naturalism. Using naturalism for method. Using naturalism while engaging in the scientific method. Philosophical naturalism, separate to that, is when you accept that claim 100% of the time, that the natural world is only one thing, that the natural world is all that exists. There is no supernatural there. Science, by and large, works under methodological naturalism, but okay. If you want to say that we worship it, then you're going to need to go ahead and give me an experiment that we can use.
We do accept scientific claims through testimony. For example, when you go to see a doctor, you naturally assume that he knows what he's talking about. And you wouldn't challenge him and ask him to prove the science behind the result of his examination.
Yes, you would. Actually, people do that all the time. There are people who disagree with their doctor's assessments. There are people who challenge their doctor's notions. This is actually a pretty common thing that happens in the medical industry all the fucking time, because doctors, while experts in their field, are not always correct. And yeah, that's literally what's called a second opinion. When you disagree with what your doctor is saying and you need to get a second opinion, that's what it's for. That's that.
Even scientists accept the findings and results of other scientists
Yeah, it's called peer review.
without repeating the experiments themselves.
No, they do repeat the experiments. That's what peer review is. So here's the thing. It's not that scientist A says a thing, and then scientist B says, oh, yes, I agree with that thing there. That thing you said? Mm-hmm. I agree with it. That sounds reasonable. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, that's not what happens. What happens is scientist A does the thing. Scientist B says, that's an interesting thing you did there. Let me do the thing. When scientist B gets the same result as scientist A, he then takes it over to scientist B, and scientist B goes, ah, yes, that's an interesting result you have there. Let me repeat that. And when scientist C repeats it, we go all the way down the motherfucking alphabet. And then eventually, we have concluded through enough of what's called peer review that, oh, this is a thing that is demonstrable, repeatable. So, when scientist 6,845 looks at the findings of the previous 6,844 scientists, he goes, oh, y'all have already done all the work. Y'all have done plenty of peer review. Let me read your notes. Ah, This sounds reasonable. Y'all have all checked each other's notes and done the work that you needed to do this. I will use this in a citation from my paper going forward. This is a very good bit of foundational research. That's how the scientific method works! Alice McGee, thank you for the follow. The peer review process requires multiple scientists to disagree with the face value statement of what one scientist says, and then try to replicate or disprove the results that that scientist has gotten. And when those scientists do or do not, you either recheck your hypothesis or you accept that your hypothesis might actually turn out to be true. My guy, learn how fucking science works before you use a camera made by science.
Because it's silly to assume that scientists have to run every experiment and prove every physics or mathematical laws before doing science.
Again, no, they did that already. It was called the peer review process. Engaging in the peer review process is what literally allows scientists to go, okay, this is good foundation. It's called foundational research. Foundational research is used so that you can then cite it in further works going forward. But okay.
Testimony is important. And
Testimony is kind of important. It's actually what's called weak evidence.
atheists like Aaron Ra will quote other scientific research that they didn't do and accept it as truth.
Because it has been utilized in peer review processes and has been checked by multiple experts in the field. And since we are not experts in the field, we would defer not to the opinion of a single expert, but to the combined consensus of multiple experts who were able to actually check each other. Holy fucking shit. Can you please stop leaking the brain out of your ears?
Without observing the experiment themselves. They just have blind faith in the research.
It's not blind faith in the research. It's that we can literally check all of their notes. It is all publicly available information. And when you can't find publicly available information, you can literally contact the scientists who have done that research, and they will make their paper available to you 9 times out of 10. But okay.
Don't let atheists bully you into thinking that they follow science and we believers in God don't.
I mean, I agree with that statement. There are atheists who believe in bunk science, like, say, phrenology. There are atheists who don't actually believe in science. And there are Christians who believe in science and follow it much more closely than atheists do. Yeah, no, I agree with that statement. Congratulations. You finally said something that didn't sound like it was pulled out of your ass. You did it.
Science have nothing to do with metaphysics. Scientific conclusions are not set in stone, and they are always changing.
Yes. Do you want to perform some of those experiments yourself? Because that's what you need to do.
There is always a paradigm shift in science, and science can't give us morality.
Science never claimed to give us morality. What? Why does that matter?
Science tries to answer the question of how, but religion answers the question of why.
Okay, it answers the question of why, but the answer can be wrong. If you ask me, why am I going to be ending the stream after this video, and I give you the answer purple, I've given you an incorrect answer.
There is no contradiction between science and Islam. We accept science as a working model that changes.
I have a question. Where is sperm stored? Just tell me that. Where is sperm stored? In the Quran, where does it say sperm is stored? Just answer that one for me.
And not absolute. But Islam is superior than science because it's absolute and objective. And
I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. I want to fucking die. What the fuck? What the absolute fucking clusterfuck of a... What kind of a dumb shit asswipe asinine dumb fuck? Help me. No amount of blunt force trauma to my head can help me unhear the stupid shit that I just heard. Islam is a religion. Science is a method. These are categorically different. One cannot be superior to the other because they are in different categories. It's like trying to say, oh, Pokemon is a better RPG than Call of Duty. Only one of these is categorically an RPG. So it's a malformed goddamn statement on its surface. Where does the Quran say it's stored? That is research for you to do later. Islam is a religion. It does not matter how accurate it is for the purpose of this statement. I think it's largely inaccurate, and I think it's largely sexist, and I think that largely as a religion, it's not one that I would want to follow, nor one that I would want to create laws for me or anybody that I love. But that's not the point here. The point here is that science, as a method, produces things. Islam, as a religion, produces a very different type of thing. They're different categories. You cannot be like, science is better than Islam, or Islam is better than science. You use them for different things. Science is not to give you morality. Science is a method we use for discovering the world around us. Islam is a religion and a philosophy. It is something that is utilized for purpose of self-discovery and for sometimes, in many cases, purpose of controlling the populace. You don't control the populace with science. You need to create an actual ideology on top of science in order to make that happen. Also, to say that Islam is better than something because it has objective answers that don't change is to basically say, I am an inflexible twat and therefore I am better than you. No. Religions are also not absolute. They go through reformations all the time. They go through reconstructions all the time. Hammy is looking up where sperm is stored in the Quran. Yeah. Yeah. Sperm is stored in the spine in the Quran. You know. Science, bitch. Okay, we're done with that video. We're done. I can't do much more. I can't do any more of that. That is the most back-asswards, dumb way that can be described. And I know that there's people who I know there's people who are going to respond to this video. Oh, Suris, you're being mean. I don't like it when you're condescending. Nah. Some people deserve being condescended to. In this case, I believe that this is one of them. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of the conversation. I can't speak. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. And as always, everybody, insert end video tagline here.